Hello. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today in Life and in Between podcast. I am so excited and so thrilled to have this wonderful guest on our show today. Her name is Nikki Allen. She's author of Love You, Hated You, and it's a really bold and emotional charged book that I want her to expand on, and I want her to expand on her story, her journey, and she has a lot. So get ready, sit down, pull out your comforter, wrap it around you in your chair, get your coffee, and I want you to listen to this journey because you're going to learn a lot. So help me welcome Nikki Allen to our show today.
Thank you. Thank you, Diana, for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, thank you for joining us. I want to start off with tell me a little bit about how you got here today. Let's start off with if you can let our audience know, for those that don't know you or heard of you, can you expand on your background and tell us a little bit about your story?
That's loaded, but okay.
Okay.
I'm originally from Chicago. I moved to LA uh, 20 lifetimes ago. I've been here to pursue a career as a singer. I thought that's all I was to be was a singer, but no, the universe had other plans. So I am currently a singer, songwriter, filmmaker, director, and now author. And I also am a philanthropist. I have my own nonprofit.
Oh, I love that. Wow. So you have many layers, and you wear many hats, and you
Yes.
are very talented and creative. And I've had the pleasure of speaking to you yesterday and getting to know you. And when I tell you, audience, this is an amazing, incredible human being that
Thank you.
that actually is not only, I think that one thing that you left out, but you're also a teacher. You're a master, and I think a lot of people can learn from your journey, your experience, and the way that you articulate things. And so, because I learned in just one conversation with you, I came out learning so much. And so, thank you for that. And so, I know our audiences are going to feel really empowered, and they're going to feel that. And so, thank you. And I'm thanking them. I'm thanking ahead for my audience that they're going to learn so much. So let me go ahead and dive in. I know you said that you're currently, what are you doing today, Nikki? Because I know you talked about your singing, you're a filmmaker, you're doing all these things and your book. Can you share on what Nikki is focusing on today?
Today, actually, it's still those three things because the book is right now the main focus, but the book was a screenplay first. And the book before that, before the screenplay, it was a song on my first album, Loved You, Hated You. And that was all spawned from a toxic, abusive relationship that I was in before that. So it's all the same as I'm promoting the book. I'm actually working on a new song called Cathedral, and it is kind of, I guess, a compliment to the book. It's really called This Cathedral Is Mine, meaning me. And I am not letting anybody tear this cathedral down. So the song will be out, I'm hoping April. And in that, I am directing the music video. So it's all the same. I'm doing all the same stuff.
Okay, wonderful. I love that you're using all of your talents and skills, and I think that this is a great thing that our listeners should really listen to. You can incorporate your different skill sets and your talents and actually do this. So you're talking about an experience um that was you were in a toxic relationship, which I can definitely relate to. I was also involved in a very toxic relationship, and so I can relate to that. And I know currently right now we have people out there that are in toxic relationships, and it takes something to open their eyes, and it could be a simple what was it? What happened to you in your journey that made you wake up and say, I'm not dealing with this anymore? Or
Yeah, I had this friend. So I was new to LA. My mom died 11 months after I moved out here, and that was my rock, my best friend, my everything. My dad, not such a good person. He never believed in anything that I did, so he was not supportive. So I moved out here. I met this young lady at this job I had, and we were friends. And so while I was in this relationship, I would always come to work at lunchtime telling her what he did, what he did. And initially she was engaged and like, oh my God, this is terrible. But here's what's funny, and I want your listeners to listen to this because sometimes you don't even know or realize you're in a toxic relationship, you know?
Very
So the
true.
first step is to acknowledge that you are in one. And that was what opened my eyes that this relationship was not okay. Um, and ironically, we mimic what our parents or whatever had. My parents never argued. I've never seen them argue. I had never seen them fight anything, but it wasn't a good relationship. So I still didn't have a model, if you will. Now, I told you my father was not a good dad. When this guy put his hands on me,
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm calling my dad. He's gonna fly from Chicago to LA and get this guy, right? I called my dad, told him he did this and blah blah blah. And my dad's like, well, that's what you all do. And yeah. And so that's some form of enabling, but clearly he had his own unhealed issues too.
Right.
So I'm still in this relationship. And there was this
Mhm.
young lady that finally said, my friend that finally said, you know what? I feel for you. But I don't want to hear this anymore. I give you advice all the time. You don't take it and you come back with the same story. He hasn't changed. He's doing the same thing. And that was the day I was like, well, shoot, I won't have anybody to talk to about this. Wait, what's going on? Wait a minute. This is not right.
Mhm.
Huh. So that was when the light bulb went off. I didn't
Okay.
leave. I stayed there 7 more years, but that was when I had to at least be in this relationship with open eyes and see it for what it really was. Now, here's where it got tricky. How do you get out? I'm so in love. And when he's good, he's so great. And he didn't mean it. That's not really what he meant. And he was having a bad day and he's hanging with the wrong people. And we come up with all the excuses because when they do two things beautifully, we hold on to those two things and not the 10 that show that's who is his character, right? So, it just took some time. And then I started to realize that, first of all, my mom, who's an amazing woman, instilled so much power and just very good things about me into me. And so it was like I was hearing her voice, like, are you really letting somebody talk to you like that or treat you like that? I raised you better than that. You are my child. And so it's kind of like I am Dolores's child. We don't do this. And it was that kind of self-awareness and thinking back like who I really am that was like, no, yeah, we're not doing this. And I got out and I didn't get out strong like I just sounded. Let's be really honest.
Mhm.
It was, I'll tell you how it ended. We were in the worst fight. He was beating me up and then I was fighting him back, basically. We were so loud, his neighbors called the police. When the police came, they called the ambulance because I looked a mess. He was still in the room. Um, when paramedics came, they shined the flashlight in my eyes and were like, you took too many blows to the head. And the police were like, oh my God, do you want to press charges? And I'm like, hell yeah, I want to press charges against him. Well, then
Mhm.
he comes out and he's as tattered, if not more tattered than me. And they're like, oh, wait, sir, what happened? And, he's explained his side. It's like, well, do you want to press charges? And he was like, hell yeah. So, and then the cop was like, you're both going to jail. If you press charges against each other, then we're like, never mind. But the paramedics were like, they both need to go to the hospital. But it was that craziness that
Right.
woke us both up. And he goes, we can't keep doing this. And I'm like, no, this was embarrassing and crazy. And we hadn't been together since that point, but it took that and it took a little bit of maturity for it. But keep in mind we had gone through this at that point about 2 or 3 years. It took a little bit more maturity for us both to go, we can't, you know what, we can't do this, because he also came from a very well respected family. And when I told his family, because I did, how he had been treating me, he almost killed me. Literally, he came after me with a gun because he didn't want them to know his other side.
Mhm.
So he was playing both sides. But
Right.
I just had to really look at myself and go, why? Why are you allowing yourself to do
Mhm.
that, to allow somebody to do this to you? And it all comes down to what we talked about yesterday, self-love.
It is. At the end of the day, it
At the
really is
end of the day.
self. I think that's important because right now we have, whether it's a male or female, because we have males that are also in abusive relationships and
Yeah,
all that. I think the moment that you begin to see that this person that you love so deeply is not treating you and cherishing you the way that you're supposed to be and respecting you, those are it's the first, I mean, like, immediate understanding that if you do not seek counseling, sometimes counseling doesn't even help, just
right.
sometimes you just got to get out and leave, and that's it. Get out and believe me, I was in, and I was the love of my life, my first love and everything. I thought that was he was the end and be all, and I
Yep,
realized that there are more people out there that we
yep,
can share our lives with,
yeah,
and that will respect and honor us.
yes.
And so I love that. Yes, self-love, and I think that's the key thing, self-love. Well, so thank you for sharing that and really being transparent on that. So soon after when the breakup happened, right? Um, the song came into mind.
Yeah. Um, the lyrics are, I loved you, I hated you, and now I'm releasing you.
Oh,
That's the end part of it. And
okay.
so I go into talking about the first line, I think it was everything was all about you. I couldn't exist without your love. You were the sun, the stars, the moon, the sky above. Like you were my everything. And then I said, what was I thinking? To give you all I had in me, to give you so much love for you and no love for me. I like
Mhm.
those lyrics. I'm giving myself goosebumps.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
And then I talk about being in a comfort zone because that's what happens. You just get comfortable in the mess. And so yeah, I wrote about it, but I also would like to be very honest. This guy and I never lost touch. We're still in touch today.
Mhm.
Um, he's we were in our 20s, so I won't say I'll give him a pass, but immaturity plays a lot into, how we behave, especially in relationships, because we're really not as mature as we think we are, you know. So he and I are still, I don't want to say friends, but we still talk. We actually tried to, I'll tell you this, rekindle the relationship about 18 years ago.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. He was going through a divorce. He moved from LA. He was going through a divorce. I was going through a divorce. I had just had my son. And we always talked like in between relationships, just catching up. And I don't know, I ended up in his state and we tried. And then it's just like he was still kind of doing not the abusive or toxic stuff, but just not talking, very closed down, like just do you want this or not kind of thing. And it's like, you know what? I'm way too old for this. And I could see that it would slip back into old patterns if
Right.
I let it. Not necessarily the abusive part, but emotionally abusive, neglected, all of that. So I was like, yeah, not doing that. And then I'll tell you this, fast forward to maybe 3 months ago, I had a conversation with him. And that was probably the first time that I was like, I don't want to talk to this guy again. There's no reason.
Mhm.
And I think just really because I've grown so much spiritually, and he's still exactly where we were 30 plus years ago. I'm good. I don't need that in my life. So I say all that to say, people, when you get out of these relationships, give yourself some grace because it doesn't mean that once you cut it off, it's just off. And because that's scary too. That is very scary because I can tell you when we broke up, I would go to restaurants and see older people sitting there eating couples. And I'm like, it could have been us. Why wasn't that us? I went through that for a long time
Yeah.
because I still, even though I knew I shouldn't have been there, I got out of there. I wrote the song about it. I still had this love for him. I still wanted that, but I still chose me, thankfully, over that. And so it's not going to be easy. It's not an easy, you know what, just grab your bags, suck it up and walk out. It is not that easy. So give yourself grace, but take the first steps.
That is so very true. And I think that's the key thing. Give yourself grace. One of those things, because we beat up on ourselves and it's like, and we're so hard. I think we are our worst critic.
Oh, absolutely.
We are our worst critics and we criticize ourselves. And I think, and also, coming from an abusive relationship, they have some form of it's a form of manipulation, and you have this thing, how am I going to move on? And when you break that relationship, and it's like you said, it's not easy.
Right,
It isn't. You go through emotional, but if you build the right support system, the right support,
right,
counseling, really giving your love, and I think the reframing aspect is that love that you're pushing on, that you're giving it to this other person that's not worthy, when we
right.
really, that's not worthy. If we give that love to ourselves,
Yes, that's right.
that's when the healing process begins. So I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So for our listeners, if you find yourself in that situation when Nikki and I were in, reframe that and begin to love yourself. You know, I remember the first time, and I don't know if you experienced this, but um, I can now go to a restaurant or to a movie and I can sit by myself. I enjoy my company. I love it.
Girl, I am the queen of go do it by myself. I just went to the movies yesterday by myself. I will go out to dinner by myself. I have gone to Universal Studios by myself. I am my best date because I can eat what I want, I can go where I want, I can do what I want, and I can leave when I want. And I meet the best people. But let me tell you, my mother is the reason why. When I was in high school, a group of friends wanted to go hang out, right? This Friday, Saturday night. Mom, can I go? No. Dad, can I go? What'd your mother say? No, can't go. Please, please, please. Everybody's go. Please, please. I think I went through that for hours. Mom, please, just telling her the whole thing, right? You remember those days. Please, mom, and so and so, and then no. Finally, I got a yes. I think I just wore him down. She was like, yes, go. Call my friends like, oh, I can go now. And they're like, oh, we're not going. And I was like, okay. So I went on about my business. My mom comes up. She's like, you're not getting ready to go. I was like, no, they changed their mind. She said, oh, no, you're going. She said, you're going. She said, because you felt it was that important for you to go. You really wanted to go. She said, so you go. She said, you don't need them to have fun. There will be people there, right? Yes. You meet other people. That's how you meet new friends and have new experiences. Get yourself ready and you go. And I went and I had the best time. And from high school till this moment now, I have no problem doing anything by myself.
Oh, I love that. That is, your mom taught you a valuable lesson.
Hmm.
I didn't learn that until later years in my life. Um, because I started picking up on people that it's very difficult for them to be by themselves, you know, and
Yeah.
they find it hard. And now that I'm on the other side, I love spending time with me. I love my me
Yes.
time. I
Yeah.
love being with me. I can go and sit in a cafe. I can go, like you were saying, I can go anywhere. I can get into my
Mhm.
car and start driving, and I'll be wherever, and I can be and feel comfortable with myself. But there are out there people that don't. And I think maybe those are one of the first steps. Date yourself, like you said.
Date yourself and sit in silence because that's the other thing I'm really good at. People get in their car, they blast the music, and or when they clean the house, they need stimulation. I
Yeah.
am the opposite. I like quiet because this is when I get to talk to me and God, and I really go in there. Like people, at one time, my friend came over and she was like, "I'm gonna help you clean up. Can we turn on some music or anything?" I'm like, "No, let's do this inside." But later in life, she passed away, God rest her soul. But she said, "You're the first person I ever knew that liked quiet." She said, now I understand because she started going on her own spiritual journey. And she was like, I got to know myself. And so, and that's not to say, I'm not weird. I do listen to the radio very loudly in my car. I
Yeah.
do sometimes, turn on some background noise when I'm cleaning. But for the most part, I like to commune with God. That is really my thing because then I can, and when you're alone with your thoughts, it nobody's judging you, but deal with them. Deal with them
Yeah.
because so many times we're embarrassed about what we're thinking or don't want to say it, but you're by yourself, deal with it. And if you are dealing with a higher creator, deal with it with him or her or what, however you call it. But that is how you really find out who you are and then start loving yourself. Go in that mirror and look at yourself and say, "Oh my God, you are so beautiful and I love you." Mwah. And let me
Yeah.
tell you, that is very hard to do. It took a while for me to be able to do that.
It's funny. Well, it's ironic that you say that because I have someone in my life that he cannot look in the mirror and say I love you. It is so hard for him and so difficult and say I value you. They beat themselves up constantly, but that's, they're in work in progress and all that.
Yeah,
And it is so true. I think going in front of a mirror, it's not as easy as it is. I mean, you could say, "Hey, I love you." No, but really pulling down from inside the core of you and looking in that mirror and saying, "I love you."
it's hard as
It's
hell.
it is. And then especially when you have for years of beating yourself up and being your worst critic and pulling all the bad stuff, all the things that you don't like about yourself. But then if you look in that mirror and say, "I love you in spite of," or "I love you because because you are smart, creative, whatever," and start focusing on the positive and not the negative.
Yep. And it is so, I remember when I first tried it, I was looking in the mirror like, I love you. I don't. I don't. I, I, I love you. Oh, God. And then I tried that. Kiss yourself on the hand. Now you would think it's your hand. You can kiss your hand. It was like, "Oh, that's, I don't want to." Like,
Yeah,
it's so hard. And now I had to laugh at myself the other day. I got in the car and I went to adjust my mirror and I looked at myself. I was like, "Damn, you're a bad bitch." I was like, "Oh, I've arrived." I love myself now. Or then I
you
was
know,
like the other day, I was like, "Oh, you are so gorgeous. Oh my God." I mean, but listen, it took a very long time for me to be that comfortable in saying that. But what I want to tell you all, once you get to that point, those are the only people and things and opportunities and situations that you will attract. I promise, because your energy has shifted and it only knows how to pull in that mirror of you.
that is so very true. It is so true. And I cannot emphasize more on what you just said. Like, I mean, you pull in the energy that you're displaying, that you're in. It is you frequencies. I call, like you
Mhm.
pull in that frequency. So if you're in a low frequency level, you're going to pull people in low frequency levels. If you're in a high frequency level, you're going to attract people from high frequency levels.
Yeah.
And when you start seeing that there are people that are in low frequency levels, let's say you're on a high, I find myself like I back in the days when I was in a low frequency level, oh, you and I get along, we're together, like you immediately like click with them. At that point, I'm like, I'm sorry, but right now I'm up
Mhm.
here. I cannot
Mhm.
unconsciously like saying I
And
can't.
it's not a being better than someone.
Yes, exactly.
That's not what you're saying.
Right.
So people, that's not what we're saying. It's not
Yeah.
a better than. It's look at it like this. When you go to your job, you have a supervisor and your supervisor has a supervisor and that supervisor has a supervisor until you get to the person that owns it. And then he's got God or whomever. But the bottom line is we're all on the same playing field and we're all trying to get to the same thing, but your supervisor has a little bit more knowledge maybe than you do, and his supervisor or their supervisor has more knowledge. It's just that. It's just levels to it. But when we say this, we're not talking we're better. We're
Well,
just at a
exactly. Yes.
different level. I just want to clear that up in
Clarify.
case
That's good.
somebody,
Thank you for clarifying that.
yeah,
Yes,
because I
because
don't
I
want
yeah,
somebody to be like, "Oh, yeah, see, they think they're better than us."
yeah.
No.
No, 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 not at all. And I think you begin to realize it because when you start realizing um it's like you just sit with somebody and we have nothing to talk about. We're not, and it's just like that, you know?
Yep.
And it's that similar thing because you attract, like, if you're on a mission, you're like wanting to create something, you attract your creative people that are going to be able to collaborate. These are the people that are going to collaborate in your life to enhance and grow. Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
So that really literally just happened. I'll tell you more about it after the situation happens. But I told you I'm working on new music, and there's this one artist. He's kind of underground. But he is so freaking amazing. And all I've been saying is I want to work with this guy. I want to meet him. I want to work with him. And my daughter's like, "Why don't you just go to one of his concerts?" And I'm like, "Well, he's not in this country. He's never touring here." 2 days later, she just sent me a link. He's coming here in April. So not only did I was able to buy the tickets, I got a meet and greet with him. So I'm
Wow.
like, but I put that out there. You know what I mean? It's like I attracted that. But here's the other thing I want people to understand when we're talking about frequency and what we attract. Because the other day I had something kind of profound happen to me that I'm like, I never even thought about it like this because I've been in a good relationship now. We just had our 7 year anniversary Sunday.
Well,
So,
congratulations.
so I'm not looking for any relationships or anything like that. But it's so funny how when I was vibrating lower, the kind of guys that would be looking or staring or checking me, and it's like, dude, I would never, just because I just would never. We all have a type. It's not that
Yeah.
I'm better. It's just
Yeah.
no, thank you. But the other day, I'm sitting wait at Chick-fil-A waiting for them to bring my food out, and I'm on the phone with my son's counselor, a school counselor, and this guy walks by and he's staring at me, and I just happen to look up, and I'm telling you, mature, drop dead, gorgeous, like, wait, I haven't had anybody look at me like that in years. My guy is gorgeous, by the way. So, but I
Okay.
just you're not looking for it, as
Right.
but it was so crazy. And I'm like, maybe I'm reading too much into it. He went in, he came out, and he looked again and he kept going. So I'm pulling out and he's pulling out, and our cars are passing each other. He literally stopped and was smiling. I was like, oh, my frequency is back to what it used to be because I hadn't been looked like that since I was in my 20s when I was really pursuing this career when my vibration was like, and I'm like, oh. And I just looked, I said, oh, you're back. You're back. You're back. You are back.
That reminded me of something that it's funny how when you're talking about the attraction, I know, like, when I'm gonna say something terrible, and audience, you can judge me on this one, but it feels different when you find a person physically attractive that's attracted to you versus someone that you don't, that you just,
Right, right, right.
it feels totally different. So when you were saying this is a really handsome, even though, like, I'm married, my husband's very handsome. He's, in my eyes, I look at him, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so gorgeous. I
I
love you and
know, right?
everything.
I
And
feel the same about my
yeah,
guy.
but when someone outside, and it's okay for it to like someone admiring you, whether it's for your intellect or your physical beauty, whatever it is.
Hmm.
So if if a person, or an individual that I don't find attractive, like, well, that's it's okay, like, you feel like, oh, okay, that was nice, and I appreciate
Right.
it. It's like, I really thank you so much, and you
Yes.
feel a little bit. But when someone is, and you're like, oh, then you
Right.
really feel good. So, okay, we
Yes, that's what happened. I'm like, I called my daughter. I was like, listen. She's like, Mom, you've been back. I was like, no, I'm back now because that was like next level. And I mean, you could just tell his energy was different. I could feel it. And I feel everything. And he was just and gorgeous. And I'm like, man. But I thought about it. I was like, see, I'm so thankful that I have my guy because I don't think even though I felt his frequency, his energy, he got some other stuff going on that I probably wouldn't want to deal with anyway. But
yeah,
I looked at it like that was God winking at me, like, you're back. Let's go.
yeah. Yeah, and I think we need, all of us need that in our lives. So it's okay. I think, to feel that. So I kind of want to just talk a little bit about
Yeah.
that how how we perceive and how we feel differently when when we get that wink or whatever, that, from a certain type of individual
Hmm.
that makes us just feel higher, and then
Yeah,
that's when
it
we
does.
know. I at least that's when I realized, like when you're talking about different frequencies and you're like, I'm back, you realize what you are giving off, what you're putting out. Because when I was in my low moments in my life, I wasn't like, like it was like a certain set of individuals that
Right.
look at you and you're
Yep.
like,
Yep. Yep.
no, but my vibration, I guess, was giving off that. And now,
Yep.
like when I feel really good, empowered, and confident, and all that, like I was like, I'm like, oh
Listen,
yeah.
I've had men, I'm not lying to you. I've had this man, I was getting to my car and he ran to it and opened it up and he was like, you shouldn't even touch that doorknob. The Empress is here. Like it's and little things like that. Even the guy, the maintenance guy, I'm like, who my ring camera kept going off. I'm like, who is at my door? Oh, I open the door, he's sweeping my mat. And I just know it's just the energy, just the frequency that I'm putting out there. I'm not asking for anything. It's just being people, go ahead. You want to go in front of me? And the other thing is I stopped being critical of people and of myself. And
Mhm,
so I've noticed that because I have time anxiety, so everything has to be like this, right? I get
mhm,
really anxious. So I'm learning to just let go,
mhm,
relax. You're gonna get there. It's okay.
mhm.
You're in divine timing. You asked God to order your steps, so just chill. That's kind of and because when I see myself, and I was like, calm, it's just and so what happens, because I hate standing in line. I went to Target yesterday, lines were crazy, and I was like, breathe. You don't know what God's protecting you from. You go out right now, you might get in a car accident or you don't know. Just relax. And sure enough, the lady's like, you can go in front of me. You only have those two items. And boom, there it was, but it's that just let go, let God. It when you get in that frequency, I'm telling you all, I promise you, you're going to think you're walking on air. Really, it's the craziest thing. I had a doctor's appointment. I can go on and on. I had a doctor's appointment. You can never find parking there. I always find parking right in front of the door because before I leave, I'm like, you all know I don't like walking that far. And it's da da da. And I went last week, and they have a top layer in front of the building, or you go underground. I like the top. And so I went around the security guard was like, there's no parking in here. And I was like, eh. And I went around him anyway. And I'm like, well, maybe there isn't. And sure enough, I turned down one lane, car pulling right out. And I'm like, see, it's like magic.
Right.
It's like magic. It's like
And
magic.
yeah, you're right. And I think that's when we become when we start becoming more self-aware that we can manifest things. I think it's a manifestation. Everyone has that ability. Everyone has
Absolutely.
the ability to manifest things. And people say, "Oh, this is the woo-woo stuff." And look, I'm into the woo-woo stuff. I'm going to be
I'm all
honest.
about the woo-woo.
I'm all about the woo. I'm the woo girl, okay? But you know what? You but just do it and try it. I mean, like, and it
Well,
does happen.
it does. And I'll say this to people that don't believe in the woo-woo. I know you've heard of Stevie Wonder, and Stevie Wonder has this song called Superstition. And part of the lyrics are, when you believe in things you don't understand, then you suffer.
Okay. Yes.
So I come from a Christian background, tarot cards, all this stuff is so demonic and so
Yes.
woo-woo. We don't do this. And so, but I've always been felt and led to, I don't know, I've always been curious. And I started learning, what is tarot? Oh, it's just a card game, but it's about energy. And I just went all the way back and I just started, Christianity was built off the woo-woo. If you're Catholic, I grew up Catholic initially, the candles, that's how we get our candle magic, right? We
Mhm.
started the candle magic and they put it in the church, and the
Mhm.
incense they put in the Catholic church. Like, so when you start learning that, hey, religion is not a one size fit all.
Thank you. Yes.
So I take from my Christianity, I take from my other denominations, and I take from the woo-woo world, and
Yeah.
it works for me. take what works for you because this may not work for you. We're not saying
Exactly.
that it is, you know.
Right.
There are people that are totally into astrology and they work their world that way. I get it a little bit, I understand some, but that's not what moves me, you know. Christianity may work for you. I don't know, but try the woo-woo, incorporate it, just see, just learn because you'll
Right.
never know. You might pick up one thing or half a thing, like, that part that they did right there. I really like that. How do I incorporate that into what I do? Trust me, because it's not a one size fit all.
I totally agree. I am very, one of the things that I love learning about different religions. I love incorporating and learning different stuff. And I believe that it's all like a big puzzle.
Oh, stop it. That's my next book.
It's all okay. Okay, so
Big
then
puzzle.
it's all big puzzle. Religions, we all have
Yes.
theories, ideas, have pieces of the puzzle, you
I'm trying to
know?
find my book here. I came up with that because I don't know if you're familiar with Florence Shen, but she has a book called The Game of Life and How to Play It. That book saved my life in terms of it just saved my life. Not in terms of it saved my life because I started to understand life. But as I continue to read it, it's 30 something pages, really short, but it's so profound. But I'm like, it is a game, but it's a puzzle game. It's a you and when you realize that you're picking up pieces every day, all I'm doing now is putting the pieces together. That's all it is. That's the only reason why I'm walking like that. Because I'll say we're just walking fragmented. But when you realize it's really a puzzle and you're a puzzle piece and the situation is a puzzle piece, when you figure it out, and it's not a hard puzzle to put together once you open your eyes, once you
Yes.
see the signs, once you realize it, I'm having the best time, and that does not mean that I don't have bad days. It doesn't mean bad stuff doesn't happen. It doesn't mean any of that. But I can move through it a lot differently without lowering my vibration, and I can reframe it and understand that this too is also for my higher good. I may not understand it now,
Mm.
but because of what I've gone through and I'm seeing what's happening now, I can say this too was for my higher good, for something that's to come.
I love that. And it's so true. So, I mean, the fact that we didn't talk about the puzzle and I just happened to bring up the puzzle and I've always believed that. And then you say the puzzle so I just don't think that is a coincidence. I
I don't
think
believe in coincidences.
it's exactly.
I
And so,
don't.
yeah,
That's part of the puzzle, and I think
yeah,
that's what keeps people fragmented when they go, "Oh, that's a coincidence." No, that's God, Earth, energy, universe, whatever you call it, speaking to you.
exactly.
And
That, yeah,
you need to, because there are coincidences that I don't understand. Here's one. I had to look it up this morning. So my guy his birthday is September 12th. He's a Virgo. And this artist, really?
I'm a Virgo, September 9th.
Capricorns and Virgos are soulmates. I'm a Capricorn. And the artist that I just told you I'm going to see, don't even know why he popped up in my phone with his birth date. His is September 12th too. And I'm like, okay, so my two favorite guys born on the same day, something to it. And so I'm like, huh, it's something about that frequency on that day, but they both pull me from one is pulling my creative side and the other is just my grounding.
Right.
It's just so it's not a coincidence because this guy, I've never heard anybody's music. I promise you, I've been in this industry 30 years and I've listened to music my entire life, and I don't think I've heard anyone this good. He cannot not make a hit. I don't understand it. It's very weird. And he uses all the chords that I like. All the chord. I'm like, this is insane. And then he just keeps changing them. Like, how do you have so many songs that sound different using the same chords? And I'm in love. Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh, I love that. I'm going to share something that's you were talking about the same birthdays and all that. The two men that I married, um, their birthdays were never documented properly,
Interesting.
which I'm still trying to figure out. But their birthdays, because they were foreigners from other countries, they don't typically write, and so what they do is they make up a birthday. They just add it on, and that's what it is. That's your birthday. But both men that I married didn't officially have a birthday.
There's something with your frequency. I wonder what that is. I'm gonna be thinking about that one. Did you pull cards on that?
I have not. No, no,
You
no.
should pull cards on that. And then I don't know, I have these past lives cards. OMG. They will tell you who and what you were in a past life, and that may open up some we can play cards later. But anyway,
Okay. That sounds fun. We could do that.
but yeah, that might open up why that is, because that there's something to it, one
There
trillion
is.
percent, and you're the center that of that trinity. So I'm wondering what that is. Huh.
Yeah, I'm wondering because when you just said you're pulling the creative side, the frequency, and he was 912, and then it clicked in my head. I said the two men that I married didn't have birthdays. They don't have like official, like they don't know their actual date of birth.
That is it's something to that. Oh
Yeah.
no, we're gonna figure it out. I gotta know because that's so unusual, and that's how you know it's a divine blueprint of some sort. Because how two, one is a one-off, but two
Yeah.
is something. There's something there.
There's something that, so I mean, hey, audience, if you know, just send me the
Please,
please.
please tell her because I want to know.
Because yeah,
Inquiring minds want to
you want it.
know.
Yeah. So that was, and it just popped into my head. I'm like, that's really interesting because it is so true. I think that when you were talking about the uh Capricorns and Virgos being like so, being attracted and all that, and then the birthdays. I'm like, there's got to be something to that. So I thought I'd share that with you. And
Hmm.
well, so yeah.
Hmm.
Oh wow, this is like such a interesting. I mean, like we can talk forever. Nikki, I am, I mean, is there any message that you would like to share with our audience? Like a in-between moment message, a person that's right now listening to our podcast, laughing, sharing, and saying, I can relate to that and all. Anything that you would like to share, a message.
I just want to say, always give yourself some grace. That is really my message because we are so good at beating ourselves up. We're in a society that tries to make us think we're supposed to be perfect. Nothing and no one is perfect. You know, give yourself some grace as you move through this journey.
Love that. I love that. That is wonderful. And where can our listeners find you? Now, I'm going to put it in our YouTube and everything, but if someone wants to reach out to you or listen to your music or learn more about you, Nikki, where can they go?
Officialnikkiallen.com. They can find everything. They can also find it at nikkiallen.com, which is mostly for the book, but at the bottom there's a link to take you back to all of the stuff I do. So either way.
All right, wonderful. And I didn't ask this question, but it just came into mind. Now, I know you said you were writing a book, the next book, and you're going to launch it. And you said, when is that going to be ready again?
I didn't say.
Okay, okay,
I didn't say when, because I have another book ahead of it called Soul Surgery.
okay,
And so I'm gonna release that one probably closer to the summer, and
okay.
then maybe towards this time next year or towards the end of this year we'll do the puzzle one.
The puzzle one. Okay. So, where can they find Loved You, Hated You book for purchase if they want to go ahead and purchase that? Where
They
can
can
they?
purchase it on Amazon, Barnes
Okay.
and Noble. They can go to my website. And if they want a nice gift box and I sign it, they have to get that from theempresscompany.com. They can order it there.
Okay, perfect. Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Nikki, I had a blast. This was like wonderful girl talk that we just had, and we just dove into so many different directions. And this is why we have guests like you come on because you are a teacher, an educator, not only a fantastic guest for life and in between. I want to thank you that. And one of the things that I share with all my guests that come on, you're now part of La Familia. You're now so you're part of the familia, and I want to thank you. Now, for our listeners out there listening, or if you have not subscribed yet, you can go ahead and subscribe to us at Life and In Between. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and all social media platforms. Please subscribe, like, share. If you know that this message can resonate for someone or can help someone, please share it with them so that they can hear this. And thank you again for being our wonderful guest, Nikki. And thank you,
Thanks
audience,
for
for
having
being a
me.
part of our story, listening to this and sending lots of love, peace to our audience. Thank you.